Welcome to the Your True Purpose podcast with David Marshall, helping you to create the life you were born to live.
Hi everybody, and a really warm welcome to this podcast. David Marshall here from yourtruepurpose.co.uk, and today we're talking about direct spiritual experience, why it's actually essential. It's not just important, it's actually essential for a number of reasons that we'll go through, and it's going to really hopefully help you understand that really direct experience is really the doorway to understanding your true purpose, the real doorway. It's not theoretical. Spirituality, remember, is just a word for gaining more information about the nature of reality, just like science is doing, looking at dark matter and quantum physics. They're getting more information in. It's information that they can measure, and it's real information. And there's real information beyond your five senses, direct spiritual experience. And I think that for a number of reasons, it's really important that you have it. And so we're going to go through that today, because I do think it's very easy to get caught up in a new age loop, if you like, where you just people go round and round from workshop to workshop, subject to subject. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong in that, but what I am saying is counterproductive if you're not actually having any direct experience of more of yourself. Okay, in terms of an experience of yourself beyond the five senses. So there are a few things that direct experience does for you, and they are the most important thing, because a lot of people, 95% of people really, are just kind of guessing. It's theory to them that spirituality is there. It's something they feel, it's intuitive, I understand that. But it's still something that's very, very theoretical. And it's not until you have a direct experience of yourself outside of the five senses, or a direct experience that's deep enough or long enough to completely convince you, to help you understand that you're not dealing with a physical environment, you're not dealing with a physical body, that you are really not physical in any way, shape or form, in the traditional form that we think of it. So what do I think that direct spiritual experience? Now, if we just think about what spiritual is, so spiritual is really just gaining information beyond the five senses. It's nothing more than that. You will have a much broader and deeper experience and view of reality the more that you go outside of physical reality, the more spiritual, in inverted commas, that you are. But really, it's just self-awareness. You're just more aware that there are experiences beyond the five senses that you haven't had yet, and that what you see here in the world is really just one very small sliver of yourself, and also the reality as it exists. So in terms of direct experience, and we'll get into how you can have more of that a bit later in the podcast, not too long. But first of all, I think what direct experience does, it allows you to see the larger picture of what's going on. So remember, life is about growth. The purpose is growth, to help you understand who you are. And if you see the bigger picture, then what you tend to do is not focus on the kind of the golden shiny bullets that other people put in front of you. Now, rightly or wrongly, you may think, I would regard things as chakras and crystals and law of attraction. All of those things, they would come into that area. Now, I'm not saying that it's not worth exploring them, but I can promise you that once you have a direct experience, then, is it really that important? You like them? Sure. But is it really what you think your purpose is, what you think your life is about? Because it won't be. It simply won't be. They are part of the journey, part of the new age movement, if you like. And my advice is, don't get caught up in them, because they will take you nowhere at all. Not in terms of your experience beyond the five senses. So, and that might be a radical thought, it might not, but what I'm trying to do is pop you out of this new age loop that so many people are in. So it gives you a larger picture, it gives you direction also. So once you experience yourself in a very different way enough times, with enough depth, you'll realize that actually, things you worry about in life, you don't have to. The way you operate in daily life is very, very different. And it gives you that direction of knowing what your purpose is, and that I think is absolutely key. It also helps you focus. It helps you focus on things that are important and let go of the things that are not important. Now, if you want to think about crystals or whatever, we have crystals in the house here. They're very pleasant, but they certainly are not. They don't have any kind of attention in who I am, in my purpose, because I've experienced myself outside of physical reality. And so as lovely as they are, like anything else, they don't really impact in that. So it helps you focus on the bigger picture, and it stops you, like I say, focusing on this kind of these golden things that come along, these different courses, and they're all saying the same thing. Fundamentally, they will all do the same thing, often, which is nothing. And that is just the truth, my friends. It just is. People go on courses and it doesn't really transform their life. But I promise you, if you had a direct spiritual experience or a direct experience of more of yourself outside of the five senses, well, that would transform your life, and it would put it onto a completely different trajectory, totally. So one of the key things about exploring this is once you begin to have these experiences, and we'll talk about that in 1 second, if you imagine it's a bit like visiting a new town, okay? It's like once you know where to go, okay, and consciously you may not know, but your broader self, the personality that you're a part of, does know. And once you create those kind of emotional, psychic pathways, best way to describe them, a bit like our roads here that we see, then they're constantly open. There's you can always go back and you can make them broader and deeper, and and once you do it once, then the door is open. And that's why it's really important to start. And the best way to start, the nuts and bolts bit, is to understand that you have really two sets of senses that we can define. The first one is the five senses, which show you a world here, supposedly solid, supposedly with light and sound that we can see, all that stuff. But we know that it is an illusion. It's mostly space. There's sound and light and energy and everything beyond consciousness, beyond our five senses. So this is an illusion. It's real. When we're in it, don't go and jump in front of a bus. It's real, When you're in a body, you are in the body, and the five senses make this reality, make this world appear. But it's not the whole of reality. So you've got your five senses, and then you've got your inner senses, and your inner senses are the ones that you can develop, and the ones that allow you to have an experience outside of the five sense world. So the easiest way is to begin to suggest to yourself that it's okay to have these experiences. It's okay to begin to develop these senses. And if you look at some of the podcasts around the website or on my podcast, you'll see there's some exercises that you can do. But developing the inner senses is really the key to spiritual experience, and the key to knowing your purpose is having those experiences. So as you go to sleep at night, just to suggest to yourself it's okay to begin to develop these. You might want to take 10 minutes a day for contemplation, where you sit and again, you just imagine that you're turning down the outer senses that show you this world, the five sense world, and you're turning up your inner senses. You're turning them up to allow you. Now, you may not see anything, you may not experience anything initially, but it's a bit like getting an engine moving. And over time, I promise you that you absolutely will. And when you have had that experience, you can come back and tell me, because it will transform everything, absolutely everything in your life. So what's the biggest barrier? The biggest barrier to that is fear. Okay, the misunderstanding that consciousness out of the five senses, there's somehow evil or difficult. Now, the way to get beyond that is to begin to understand the nature of fears and that type of thing. So understand that anything that you experience filtered through you is based on your fears. It has nothing to do with what's outside of physical reality. Okay, it's all about the myths and the legends of all our religions. There's nothing out there to be afraid of at all. In fact, it's more of an inner journey. You're heading into yourself, and knowing that you're heading into yourself, maybe that's easier for you. So that's it for today. That's my encouragement to you, is to get out of this new age loop. Obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you're open to something more. But if you are attending courses, or people are, go round and round, and they're not actually having any direct experience, they're not actually coming outside, or more kind of that inner journey into themselves, then you're missing something. You're absolutely missing something, and that's why people go round and round and round. So that's it for today. I would encourage you to have some direct experiences, to be open to that. Dreams are a great way to do that because you're not focused into your reality, into your physical body, and really a direct experience is the doorway to understanding your purpose. Once you understand that, then life is extremely different, I can tell you. That's it. Have a great day. I hope that's useful to you. And if you've got any questions or anything, wherever you find this podcast, you can pop me a question. Join me on Facebook on Your True Purpose page. Happy to connect up there and speak to you soon. Take care.